I am guided by imagination, open to my creation, creating wins and celebrations. Don't be overwhelmed by information, more important than education. Be inspired by your exploration, on the path to your destination, leading to innovation. Yes, you are guided by imagination. Hello and welcome to the Guided by Imagination podcast. I'm your hostess, Jenny Edwards, and I have a really great friend here on the call today, Betsy Finkelhoo. What's up, Betsy?
Hello. Hi. So grateful to be here.
I'm so happy that you're here too. We were just chatting before the recording. It was like, sparkle, sparkle, like ideas, imagination, like inspiration. We were just all lit up. So it's like, we got to hit record. This is great. So for those of you that haven't met Betsy yet, Betsy is a California and North Carolina based wellness advocate, author, healer, embodiment coach, empowerment coach. She is really known for her Power Affirmations Journal, and she focuses on affirmations to promote personal growth and spiritual alignment. She is a great friend of mine, and I have been able to be part of her Power Affirmations group. And I just really want to acknowledge you for the work that you're doing to just help people feel more empowered and confident and utilize these amazing affirmations to live their best life. So I absolutely love that. I wanted to let you know also to the viewers that Betsy's facilitated many women's empowerment workshops, and she also contributes community projects like the Community Speaker Series, which I got to speak at a while back. And she has really aligned with a lot of speakers, which is awesome, at retreats and Burning Man style events, and really fosters connection and spiritual well-being. So yay, give you a round of applause.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been
Awesome. A
fun.
little celebration. Is there anything else that you would like the viewers to know about you?
Oh, I mean, you summed it up so well. And, to just add to one of the other things I'm really passionate about that is a part of my service to community is I host intentional clothing exchanges as well, where I bring women together to get to trade clothes in a very intentional, circle-based experience. So that's another one of my fun offerings in the world, and have some new fun stuff coming with that. And then also some of the products that I've been coming out with have been really exciting new tools for transformation. And I was recently published, which was a really cool experience too.
Yay! Woo! That's so exciting. Wow, you're making a splash.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely love to be in service. And you know what? Actually, there's even more. I have one of my passions to serve is using audio affirmations as well on Insight Timer. So
Oh,
it's an app that has so many different audios for meditation and mind focused specifically on affirmation. So another
yeah,
fun.
I love Insight Timer. And I think I happened upon that you were on there. I was like, oh, Betsy's on Insight Timer. This is great. It's such an amazing tool. I love
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Yes. And I recently, even though we've known each other for years, I think probably maybe 12
Close to
years
a
or so.
decade. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably a decade or
10,
more.
12
Yep.
years. Yeah. And wanted to, so I wanted to think of you. I thought of you, I should say, because you had posted something on, I think, Instagram about imagination. And I was like, ding, 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 ding. I need to invite you to be a guest on my podcast. Like, this is so in alignment.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm super passionate about it. So yes, perfect. I love that you're doing this. Let's see what kind of inspiration can come through and for those of you listening out there, let's see what's going to come through. Let's stay curious, shall we?
Stay curious. And I'm curious to know, how has imagination made a difference in your life? Is there some kind of story that you could share with us?
Sure. Yeah, I feel like just in reflection of imagination, It is something that we all have access to. It's a real gift that we have as humans. And I've been reflecting about imagination in regards to children and how children have such greater access to imagination. And at some point on our journey of growing older, somehow that can oftentimes fade. And we a lot of times have troubles getting into imagining. And if we imagine, sometimes it's imagining the worst outcomes. And so that's what my post recently was about. I was really reflecting on, if we know that we have the power to imagine, then we might as well remember to imagine the highest and best outcome. Instead of worrying for the worst or imagining that things are going to go in a really negative way, when we don't really know what the future is, we might as well take the reins of our thoughts and really choose to imagine a hopeful future, whether that is for our own personal life or for the collective. I think that that's a really important practice to continue to be with.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Instead of imagining the worst outcome, let's just choose to imagine the best outcome.
Yeah, well, and sometimes it can be helpful to consider like what would be the worst outcome, so that way we can plan,
Yeah.
strategize for things to go totally haywire or wrong, and also how much time and energy do we want to spend focusing and thinking about the worst possible outcomes. You know, um, One of the practices that I really, really love and I implement into my regular life, and I share this with my clients oftentimes, is the practice of imagining myself complete with a particular conversation. And so it's a practice of really getting in touch with how I want to feel after a specific conversation, whether that is like a conflict resolution kind of conversation, whether that's like a job interview type of conversation, whether that is just any kind of important conversation I'm going to be having. Before I go into that meeting, I like to pause and take some breaths and settle my nervous system, and then future forward project and imagine how I'm going to feel after the conversation is done. And especially the feeling part. How am I going to feel? And so a lot of times it's like I'll just imagine what it feels like walking back to my car, or what it feels like to sit back in my car after I leave the meeting and take that deep breath and just feel so grateful for how it went. Or maybe I'll even imagine myself like jumping up and down and cheering. And really having a moment before I go into something that can potentially maybe be tense or challenging, and just getting into the frequency of that celebratory moment afterwards. And then I go into the experience and kind of just let it go, imagine like letting go of that vision, and then see what happens. And I will tell you, more times than not, I have the visceral experience afterwards of whether it is getting into my car and being in that place of deep breath relief or celebration or whatever it is.
I love that. Yes, I'm totally in alignment with that. And I also just think of the person saying thank you to me. Not only just how am I feeling, but then I also hear them and see them in my mind saying thank you. Like say I'm on my way to do a photo session or something, then I imagine, oh, they're like, oh, thank you. Oh, we had so much fun. Thank you so much. And then I said, thank you. And I have
Yeah.
this practice of gratitude. And I believe also what you were mentioning about the celebratory, it is so important to celebrate your successes and celebrate even small successes, because it shifts the chemicals in your body, that brain patterning, and it helps you be able to move on to, because a lot of times I'm at home and I'm, if I'm working by myself and I'm on to the next thing, and what are the next tasks I need to do, but we got to stop and celebrate. So
Yes,
imagining and
absolutely.
celebrating the hard before the hard thing happens is so key. Thank
It's so
you.
true. Yes, it's a frequency. It really creates that magnetism of where we're wanting to go. And celebration of what already has been then starts to attract more of the good things.
Yeah, exactly. Law of attraction, bring it in.
Yeah.
Thank you, universe.
Yeah, and imagining what, a project feels like once it's complete. So I love this practice of just communicating as if it's already done. So I did this with my journal, the Power Affirmation Journal. It was quite a process to create and it took quite a lot of time. I worked with multiple coaches and interior or, editors and designers, and it was a process to make. And during that process, I kept just coming back to the imagination of what it would feel like in my hands and imagining it, like when I open it, how it felt when I flipped through the pages. And I would even like go to bookstores and I would imagine it on the shelf. I even made a mock book and I went to the bookstore and I put it on the bookshelf with all these other cool transformational types of journals and books and put it right up there. And I was like, oh, that's beautiful. It's done. It's already done. I can see what that feels like. I imagine what it feels like. And now it's here. And now it's on many shelves. And it's just such a cool thing to see it come to form in that way.
Ooh, I like that. Yes. Just to be in the energy and be in that flow. That's so powerful.
Yeah, and believing it's possible.
Yeah. And
That's
seeing
really,
it, literally seeing it.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. I also made a card deck and I did the same thing with the deck. I wasn't quite sure how it was going to turn out, but I made a sample just so I could see what it felt like. And then I started practicing with it. I started like doing little spreads and I would share them with people and just kind of play around with what it felt like to have it here live. I even printed out just on some paper from my home printer and put it on top of an already existing tarot card box or oracle deck box, and then like made it looked all crafty, but it felt like, oh, okay, this is what it will feel like. And so imagining just what it felt like really helped me to bring it to form.
Yeah. Oh, what? This card deck?
Oh, hey, there it is. Yep.
Yeah, I want to acknowledge you about this because this has been, I think, as far as imagination as well, you created this from as a way to, I feel, serve others. This is such a powerful tool. And first of all, it's beautiful. And you even have this picture of you saying, I believe in you in the deck, which is so awesome. And honestly, I just feel like, ooh, I need to imagine up some kind of way that I could create something that is a tool for others that they could tangibly hold. Because I think of you every time that I pick these cards up. And if you can see in the video, they have like this rainbow kind of glare on the corners, which is really spectacular.
Like,
And whenever I select one and, see the beautiful art and, the affirmations, I've created some experiences for my family too. Because even though they don't use the card deck every day, like I brought them with me on vacation and each of my family members got to choose a card and read it. And
oh, that makes
it
me so happy.
was so cool too, because I had my 9-year-old niece. She picked one and she had never seen them before or used affirmations. And hers was, I am open. She was
Mm,
reading about like being open-minded, open to possibilities, and thought, what a transformational experience, because you just never know how one little thought can plant a seed and open up to other things. Thank you
absolutely.
for
So
creating this.
powerful. Oh, thank you so much, Jenny. Yeah, it's such an honor to get to share these little seeds. They're thought seeds. Affirmations are so powerful, and we think in affirmation all the time, whether or not we're quote unquote practicing affirmations. Our thoughts are constantly affirming different things, and sometimes those affirmations are not positive. And unfortunately, quite a lot of people think in negative affirmations. And so using a tool like these cards or so many other things that you've created as well. And like I know you're an affirmation enthusiast, and that's like one of our first meeting points where we're both like, "Oh, you love affirmations? I love
Me
affirmations."
too.
You know, and here we are talking about imagination, and I feel like affirmations are a tool to help us to get into that deeper state of connecting to the infinite mindset, that more imaginative, like that things are going to be working out in our favor. You
Hmm.
know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I see this with my children too, is just what I see with my children is just speak in how you want the other person to react. Don't tell your sister, you're being a bad listener. Tell her, let's work on being a good listener.
Hmm.
So let's talk about let's pay attention to what is being said, and how can we help mommy right now, or how can we help each other, or how can we focus on kindness. And if I think it's a great lesson for us humans, like how can we really say what we want to create instead of focusing on the negatives and how bad things are in the world, blah, blah, blah. Like, what can we do to really bring more, positivity? And it really starts from within, starts with our own self talk.
Our own self-talk, and then you're right on around how we talk to others as well. You know, we're spell casting with our words. It's spelling, we spell our words, and we're creating spells with our words, you know, and it's just a really important, powerful thing to be teaching our children as well. You know,
Yeah,
you
it
could role
is.
model that. I love that you're able to help your children start to reframe certain ways of saying things and
Yeah.
focus on, okay, how can we actually look towards the good things, and how can we start to readjust our language to be able to start to magnetize what it is that we want.
Magnetize. Exactly. Exactly. And notice, and as we're teaching them that this is possible, this is a better way to live.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
yeah. So, what would you say would be something that the listeners could do maybe in the upcoming week after they listen to this podcast that would add more imagination related to the work that you do?
Mm. Well, I really love some of the prompts in the Power Affirmation Journal. As you know, it is such medicine. And one of my favorite sections in there to kind of get the wheels in motion, to really start thinking um, in a positive mindset, is using questions. So, my invitation to you listeners out there, if you want to put into a practice, a very powerful practice into play, set time for yourself, maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, maybe you want 30 minutes, and write down as many empowering questions that you can. And start to consider what are those actual, what questions are you actually thinking about regularly, right? And start to look at what are the questions that are really helping direct your focus in a good way. Because sometimes we might be unconsciously running these programs in the form of questions that are not serving. So I'll give you an example, like, why is this so hard? Why does this always happen to me? Why is there never enough time? How am I so stupid? You know, these kind of questions do pop up, and those are going to guide us in a direction to answer, right? Our subconscious looks for the answers of no matter what the question is. So the practice is really to start to train the brain to think in questions that are going to lead us in a direction of the good things that we want, right? How can I start to see the world in a new perspective? How can I create more time for myself? How can I make things easier? How can I start to learn more about the world? How can I shift my perception about myself? How can I shift my perception about the people in my life? You know, instead of being like, why are the people in my life so annoying? Like, wait a second, how can I actually start to shift my perception? So that's a really powerful practice.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. It's it's a powerful practice, and it's a great transformation too. So I invite you listeners and viewers to pay attention to that homework so that you can access that other way of thinking, that other reframe. Okay, I
Mhm.
love that.
And then I have one more.
Okay.
So I know you and I are in a practice of using affirmations regularly. I mean, you've done some real cool magic where you took one of the affirmations from the cards and turned it into some AI songs, which then we get to listen to it on a regular basis, right? We can stick
Yeah.
affirmations up on the wall and that sort of thing. But I have found also listening to an audio affirmation is really powerful. And so I've got some really great audio affirmations. And for those of you listening, I'd love to gift you a free download of an audio affirmation. And if you are ready for a challenge, I invite you to choose to do that affirmation every morning for 21 days and see what happens. It is so powerful when we start our day with affirmations. We infuse our consciousness with thoughts that are going to help us to see the world in a good way. It will change your life.
Awesome. I'm so excited. Yes. That's amazing. I was like, oh, I want to celebrate. I usually have my pom pom. Where's my pom pom? I want to celebrate you.
Oh, you're so cute. Woo, woo, woo. Just do a little
Woo!
happy dance. Woo.
Sure, I'm sure there's a Zoom and my eye keeps watering. I'm like, I'm feeling affected here. Ah, thank you.
Oh,
I moved. You moved me.
oh, good.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I absolutely love that idea. Listeners, definitely take that invitation to do that download because I think that you will be really positively influenced by Betsy's invitation here. And I want to also ask, is there any other way that they can get a hold of you and connect with you?
Sure. Yes, you can find my website, poweraffirmation.com, and you'll also see that it is finkelhoo.com. So I have them both there. That is, yes, indeed, my real last name. And it is also a verb. So you can get Finkelhooed if you come get a session with me. I may be able to support you in your own personal transformation. So, yeah, you can find me on those websites and then on the social media as well. I also have a podcast with dear friends of mine. It's called Stay Sparked. And so if you feel like gaining some more inspiration, you can also find me on the platforms they're sharing on that podcast.
Yay, awesome. I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Betsy. It's been a pleasure to interview you and hear about your wisdom. And thank you again for sharing your imagination and your heart.
Oh, yes, my pleasure. Always a joy to speak with you, sister. And I hope this was bringing some inspiration for y'all out there listening.
Yay, thank you so much. See you soon.
If you want to activate your imagination and creativity and have more fun in front of the camera with your photos and videos to market your business online or share your message to make a difference in the world, I'd love to offer you a complimentary 30-minute inspiration session, a Zoom room that we can set up and chat about ideas and inspiration to make your day a celebration with Guided by Imagination. Click the link in the show notes.